Hey, all right, we're gonna get right to this because again, we're kind of strapped on time. This will definitely be done in the next couple of days because we're on section 5. Looked at my outline before we got started. There's 9 sections, so we should be good to go. So, not wasting more time, we'll get right to it. So today is the psychological cost of being called furniture, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's a derogatory term. This stream is not sponsored by Diet Pepsi. Okay. So the psychological cost of it. First of all, it gets internalized. That's for sure. Okay. Being called furniture. Being called furniture doesn't remain an external label for long. Yeah, does it? Yeah, it doesn't remain an external label for long. For long. I'm looking for at least a release next Saturday. We'll see how this goes. I'm still figuring things out as we go with this deployment. But as mentioned, Thursday, I'm out of here for 3 months. I'll still be able to do YouTube stuff, but just in a limited capacity. So anyways, being called limp furniture doesn't remain an external label for long. I'm going to do a take. In Umineko, the real damage begins once it's internalized. We're going Silent Hill tonight. The real damage begins being called furniture doesn't remain an external label for long. In Umineko, the real damage begins when that word is internalized, actually. It's mostly because they believe it. They believe they're less than human. They believe they're just furniture. The servants of the Ushiromiya family don't just hear the term used by the family. They believe it. They begin to believe it. In a sense. Furniture becomes a measure of self-worth. Self-worth. Excuse me. Eventually, I'll recover from the sickness. I'm good now. Like last week, it was terrible, but it's still lingering. In a sense, the term furniture becomes a measure of self-worth. We need to give examples, though. Confidence for starters, because first of all, they believe they're less than human. So it limits confidence. We could say it dulls ambition because it dulls ambition because they feel like that's all that they're like worth, just to be servants of the Ushiromiya family. That's all they live for. Dulls ambition. And it teaches them that wanting more is inappropriate. You hear that, Shannon? I forgot. What am I doing? According to the Ushiromiya family. Not even human. Again, it comes to the whole know your place thing. Yeah. Furniture expected to know their place. Furniture is expected. Being called furniture doesn't remain an external label for long. In Umineko, the real damage begins when that word is internalized. The servants of the Ushiromiya family don't just hear the term used by the family, they begin to believe it. In a sense, the term furniture becomes a measure of self-worth. It limits confidence, dulls ambition, and it teaches them that wanting more is inappropriate. According to the Ushiromiya family, they aren't even human. Furniture are expected to know their place. Let's add more to this. And anything that feels too human. All right. Love, personal love. Again, shout out to Shannon, personal love. Personal dreams, I guess, in a sense. Personal dreams. And I guess even asserting themselves. There's no rightful person will ever put up with Rosa's shenanigans. Like Rosa's she just wilds out at times. Or even asserting themselves carries risks. And I guess if you want to be cheeky, like even like harmless desires can be considered dangerous. And they're better off just suppressing those feelings. Yeah. Even harmless desires begin to feel dangerous. Begin to feel dangerous. It becomes easier to suppress those feelings. It becomes easier to suppress those feelings than confronting the consequences of acknowledging them. It becomes easier to suppress those feelings and to confront the consequences. Even harmless desires become dangerous. It becomes easier to suppress those feelings than confront the consequences of acknowledging them. Perhaps emotional distance. It's emotional distance. It's emotional distance. Because they live surrounded by others, but they're separate at the same time. Like they don't belong. Yeah, they live among others. They live among others while feeling fundamentally separate. Yeah, fundamentally separate. Yeah. Going to separate? Yeah. Fundamentally separate. They are present. They're present. But don't belong. This shapes how they interact with others. It shapes how they interact with others. And again, it comes to never overstepping their boundaries, in their place. Conversations are cautious. Conversations are cautious. And emotions are restrained. I mean, Umineko, like I mentioned before, is very cheeky about this. This is not overtly malicious. It's a daily, everyday thing with them. It's routine. If you really want to be cute about it, it's a quiet tragedy. My favorite word, tragedy. We used to use that a lot. And we're going to use it again. Umineko presents this as a quiet tragedy. They aren't. Yikes. They aren't. They aren't broken by. They aren't broken by cruelty, but by the system. Streamer curse. I can tell the spell perfectly fine when I'm not streaming, but when I stream, oh man, all hell just breaks loose. But by a system that teaches them to diminish themselves. Their self-worth. Their humanity remains. Oh, Jesus. Their humanity remains. but it's weighed down. Their humanity remains, but it's weighed down. Their humanity remains, but it's weighed down by the stranglehold. It's a good word. At the Ushiromiya family. Eyes on them. Okay, I think that's good. So we talked about today was the psychological cost of being furniture. So let's read this. Curse my old eyes. Being called furniture doesn't remain an external label for long. In Umineko, the real damage begins when that word is internalized. The servants of the Ushiromiya family don't just hear the term used by the family, they begin to believe it. In a sense, the term furniture becomes a measure of self-worth. It limits confidence, dulls ambition, and it teaches them that wanting more is inappropriate. According to the Ushiromiya family, they aren't even human. Furniture are expected to know their place, and anything that feels too human, personal love, personal dreams, or even asserting themselves carries risks. Even harmless desires begin to feel dangerous. It becomes easier to suppress those feelings and confront the consequences of acknowledging them. Perhaps the most isolating effect of this is the emotional distance. They live among others while feeling fundamentally separate. They are present, but don't belong. This shapes how they interact with others. Conversations are cautious and emotions are restrained. The Umineko presents this as a quiet tragedy. They aren't broken by cruelty, but by a system that teaches them to diminish their self-worth. The humanity remains, but is weighed down by the stranglehold of the Ushiromiya I forgot that. But it's weighed down. By the stranglehold that the Ushiromiya family has. Tongue twister. Okay, I think we're good. So, as mentioned, this will get done in the next 3 days. Just the video is going to take me a little bit until I get settled with this whole deployment that's happening. Again, I'm going to be gone for 3 months. But YouTube is still a thing, just in a very limited capacity. So, be expecting a video soon, but the priority is getting this done before I leave. So, this will get done before the 31st. Anyways, good stuff, everybody. I got to go have dinner because it's about to be that time. I'll see y'all later. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a good rest of your evening.